Picture this: morning in Hallstatt, Austria, population 778. The lake mirrors the sky like polished glass. Maria Gruber opens her bakery at 5 a.m., the same time as her grandmother did. Same recipe, same wooden shelves. The children walk to school past 16th century houses that lean into each other like old friends sharing secrets. That was 2010. This is now 3 million tourists, 778 residents. That means for every single person who actually lives in Hallstatt, Austria, nearly 4,000 strangers show up at their front door every year. Imagine that. 4,000 people tramping through your neighborhood, taking pictures of your house, blocking your driveway, just because your street looks good on Instagram. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. In 2012, a Chinese company liked Hallstatt so much, they just copied it. The entire town, every building, every cobblestone, without asking permission. They built a fake Hallstatt and started selling tickets. And some tourists now visit the fake one instead of the real one. Think about that for a second. A 1,000-year-old Austrian village is now interchangeable with its Chinese knockoff. The original has become so consumed by tourism that it's literally been replaced by its own imitation. But the replica story? That's just the beginning of how insane this gets. Because what happened to Hallstatt isn't really about tourism. It's about what happens when a place becomes a product, when home becomes content, when paradise becomes a business model. And the people who built their lives there, they're about to do something unprecedented to get their town back. Maria still opens at 5 a.m., but now she does it because if she doesn't, the tour groups will wake her anyway. The buses start arriving at 6. They take pictures of me like I'm part of the scenery, she said in a 2023 interview with Austrian television, like I'm not real. The house where Maria's family lived for 4 generations, sold to investors who turned it into an Airbnb. Rent went from 400 euros to 200 euros overnight. Maria had to move to the next town over. She commutes to her own childhood neighborhood now. The pharmacy where locals got their medicine? Gone. Souvenir shops selling authentic Austrian snow globes made in Guangzhou. The family grocery store that knew everyone's name? Gone. Another souvenir shop. The kids Maria watched grow up? They can't afford to live here anymore. They scattered like dandelion seeds in the wind. But let me tell you about Klaus. Klaus Schuffer ran the last hardware store in town. His family had operated it since 1923, through 2 world wars, through the communist era, through everything. Klaus knew every nail, screw, and bolt in that place by heart. When the tourism boom hit, his landlord tripled the rent. Said Klaus could either pay up or make room for another gift shop. Klaus had been paying 800 euros a month for 40 years. Suddenly, it was 2,400 euros. But here's what's really crazy about Klaus's situation. Where am I supposed to get a hammer in this town now? Old Franz asked me. He's 84, lived here his whole life. The nearest hardware store is 30 kilometers away. I don't drive anymore, so if something breaks in my house, I just live with it broken. The school closed. Not enough local children, the post office, moved to the next town to save money. The doctor's office, only open 2 days a week now because the doctor can't afford to live here either. Hallstatt was becoming a ghost town that just happened to be full of ghosts with cameras. But here's the thing about infrastructure built for 778 people trying to handle 8,000 visitors on a Tuesday afternoon in July. It breaks. The sewage system, designed in 1970 for a sleepy village, now handles the waste of a small city. On peak days, it literally can't cope. Raw sewage backs up into the lake, the same lake that shows up in all those perfect Instagram shots. The emergency services, 1 ambulance, 1 fire truck. When a tourist had a heart attack during summer 2023, while 2,000 other visitors were crowding the main square, the ambulance couldn't get through. Emergency responders had to carry him out on a stretcher over the heads of people taking selfies. The patient survived. But the absurdity of the moment wasn't lost on anyone. But here's the part that'll make your blood boil. Some of the tourists who blocked the ambulance that day, they posted their Hallstatt photos on Instagram with captions like, "Living my best life in this fairy tale village and paradise found," the same day, while emergency responders were literally climbing over them to save someone's life. One influencer's post from that exact moment got 50,000 likes. The caption read, Sometimes you just have to stop and appreciate the simple beauty around you. And the strangest part? The tourists keep coming because they want to see authentic Austria. But every souvenir shop that replaces a local business makes it less authentic. Every Airbnb that displaces a family makes it less of a real place. They're loving it to death, literally. But Hallstatt's story gets darker, because this isn't just about tourism anymore, it's about something more sinister. In 2012, a Chinese mining company built an exact replica of Hallstatt in Guangdong province, down to the last cobblestone. They didn't ask permission, they just copied an entire town. Imagine waking up one morning to discover someone had photocopied your home and was selling tickets to visit the fake version. The replica was marketed as bringing European culture to China. But here's the twisted part. Some tourists now visit the fake Hallstatt instead of the real one. Why deal with language barriers, expensive flights, and crowds when you can see the same thing closer to home? The original has become interchangeable with its copy. The place has become a product. Meanwhile, back in the real Hallstatt, local traditions were dying faster than the tourism industry could replace them with manufactured experiences. The annual Corpus Christi procession, celebrated for over 400 years, now gets interrupted by tourists who don't understand they're witnessing something sacred. They step into the parade route for better photos. They talk during prayers. They turn a religious ceremony into a photo opportunity. The traditional boat blessing on Lake Hallstatt, same story. Locals gather to bless their fishing boats like their ancestors did for centuries. Tourists crowd onto private docks, blocking the ceremony, treating it like dinner theater. So the locals decided to fight back. And their methods might surprise you. First, they installed a giant fence right across the most photographed viewpoint. The money shot that launched 1 million Instagram posts? Gone. "We are not a museum," the mayor declared. "We are a living town." Then came the bus restrictions. Only 54 tour buses allowed per day. The rest? Turned away at the town limits. Imagine driving 200 kilometers to be told, "Sorry, we're full." Some locals went further. Johann Keplinger started charging tourists to use his family's traditional costume for photos. "If you want to turn me into a prop," he said, "then pay me like one." Maria still stands behind the bakery counter smiling, but the smile is harder to summon now. Her mornings, those sacred 2 hours of peace, are stolen every single day. She's not just losing her town, she's losing her time, her rhythm, her inheritance. And here's the question that haunts every over-touristed place on Earth. What happens when there's nothing real left to see? When the cobblestone streets are lined not with bakeries, but gift shops selling plastic keychains? When every grandmother becomes a background extra? When every sacred tradition becomes a selfie spot? What are people actually visiting? They're not seeing Hallstatt. Not anymore. They're seeing a simulation of Hallstatt. A place that exists only in filtered memories and tourist reels. They're taking pictures of other people, taking pictures of something that used to be real. The most beautiful places on Earth are beautiful because they're loved. But there's a difference between love and consumption. Love nurtures. Love respects. Love listens. Consumption extracts. It takes without giving back. It devours, even the things it claims to admire. And for 15 years now, we've been consuming Hallstatt. One photo, one bus load, one souvenir shop at a time. And Hallstatt isn't alone. Venice, where locals wade through floods while cruise ships empty their bellies into narrow canals. Santorini, where villagers can no longer afford to live in the whitewashed homes their ancestors built. Kyoto, where monks now hang signs asking visitors not to take selfies in front of altars. Machu Picchu, where foot traffic is literally wearing the stone paths to dust. Iceland's hidden waterfalls, once sacred, now trampled and droned over by the minute. They're all at the same crossroads. They can either die as authentic places or survive as living theme parks. But that choice, it's not really theirs anymore. It's ours. Every time we hit share without thinking, every time we chase a viral location without asking what makes it sacred, every time we love a place to death without learning how to love it to life. So the next time you see paradise through your phone screen, ask yourself, am I going there to witness something real, Or am I going there to take something that was never mine? Because there is a difference. In places like Hallstatt, they're counting on us to learn it before it's too late. You see, it's not about closing borders, it's about opening eyes. Imagine if travelers came not just to take photos, but to hear stories. Not to reenact postcard poses, but to ask, why do you do this? Hallstatt can still be that place, but not for long. The buses will arrive at 8 a.m. They always do. But for now, for these few golden, precious hours, Hallstatt still belongs to those who call it home. Let's help it stay that way.